Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to In the Ladies' Room with Nikki and Michelle. As you can see, I am riding solo this evening. Michelle is a little bit under the weather today, so we wish her peace, blessings, good health as she continues to feel better. Good evening, Philadelphia. Good evening, Angela. How are you all this evening? Tonight we are having a mashup, and I'm going to try and stick it out the whole hour with you as my co host. But we're just going to, you know, go as we go along as we are because who knows how long my breath is going to allow me to continue, but we hope that I'll be able to stick it out the whole hour. But as I said earlier, this is a mashup today, so we're pretty much talking about some of the things that are in the media, in the news, and I just wanted to highlight these things because they pertain to women specifically. One of the things that I did want to address, and we can start right off the bat again. You know that I always welcome your comments, your questions, and most of all, your affirmations, because that's what we're here for, to affirm one another and lift one another up. So I welcome all of that as we discuss these very pertinent issues that pertain to women. So, you know that it is my hope, my prayer, um, that as we move along in this world, that women have a better footing, a better standing. And with that being said, one of the things that we have to really work to rid ourselves of is abuse of women. So I'm not sure how many of you are aware or familiar, but lately in the news, they are talking about Governor Cuomo in New York having these allegations of sexual improprieties with some of his staff. So we want to talk about that. I wanted to talk about that with you and get some of your feelings behind some of the ways in which women are abused, not only emotionally and physically, but also sexually in the workplace as well as other places. I would venture to say that there are many people out there who may have encountered some of the kinds of abuses that these women are claiming. And I just wanted to get your feel on how you handle that. There was also a story earlier this week that Tamron Hall highlighted on her program with, I know you're familiar with Beverly Pill. She was a big model. I think she's still a big model. I don't know, but back in the day, she was really big. Beautiful black woman, black queen, who was assaulted by a man, Peter Nygaard, who she wound up found out that he wound up fathering a child that she thought was her husband's, but that assault produced a child. So, again, as I said, good evening, everyone. Angela, Beatrice, um, Facebook user. If you don't sign in and let StreamYard use your name, it's just going to say Facebook user. So, welcome, Facebook users. There's a few of you here. But Denise, hello and welcome. Christy. So I really wanted to kind of get your feel about those two stories and how far do you think the Me Too movement has come? Some of your thoughts on, is it going far enough? Do they take things out of proportion? Those are the kinds of things I wanted to discuss. Of course, I will need your feedback. I don't have my co-host here to banter back with me. So I will be taking all your questions and comments. And I will start with this one. Beatrice Dye says, I really like Cuomo, but he needs to be held accountable for his actions if he did these things, which is so true. At any particular time, I don't care how much you like somebody, people need to be held accountable for their actions. Otherwise, they will continue. We just saw what left the White House. And the reason that he was allowed to do so many things is because he's never been held accountable. And I'm sure that he'll probably try to run again if he's not in jail because he's not been held accountable. So it's the same no matter how you like a person, what you feel about him, whether you think he's doing a good job or not. When he does such egregious actions against people, you have to hold them accountable. And where my head is going with this, with the Me Too, thoughts around the Me Too movement is there a fine line? Is there a balance that we could have when we talk about Me Too? Because there, and trust me, I'm for the women. I'm not here, to debate any point of a man. But I had also listened to men who talked about how they thought that some of the actions were going way too far, that they can't speak to women anymore. They could barely hold the door open for women anymore, which is ridiculous. You can still hold the door for it open. We invite you to. We like to still be treated like women. We just don't want to be abused as women. So yeah, I'm just trying to get through some of your comments. Of course, I'm swinging here alone. Wrong is wrong. Don't matter how much power you have. Exactly. And it's so unfortunate that it seems that the people who have the most power do the most abusing. Like for instance, this particular guy that I was talking about earlier, that sexually assaulted and wind up. Well, she says sexually assaulted because she says she didn't like the R word, but he raped her, and from that rape, they have a child. But this particular man is a very powerful um, designer, and he had tons of money. He has homes in all different countries. So that kind of power, in some ways, allows men to hide behind, and they get away with doing things that people who don't have that kind of power, money, and access don't have. So those are the kinds of things that you have to really look at, and just make sure that I don't care how much power you have, that you stand up against. Angela says, right, he should be held accountable for his actions. If R. Kelly and Bill Cosby were punished for their actions, why shouldn't he? Rory, you hit right on the head where I kind of really definitely wanted to go, because that is another thing. It's unfortunate, that a lot of the things that we talk about, one of which we'll hopefully get to a little later, if I could breathe long enough. But I wanted to also talk about the Meghan Markle debacle. But anyway, for now, we'll stick on this. But it's unfortunate that, and I said this in a different broadcast, 80% of the problems that we have in this country stem behind racism. And it's so unfortunate that even in this situation where women are being abused, you want all men to be held accountable. But the only men that are being held accountable are Black men. How fair is that when you really think about it? And what kind of message does that send or say to white men who are allowed to continually get away with abusing women? Um, I like Cuomo, but I can see he is flirtatious. I think I can see that too. I, it's so funny too that you say that, Beatrice, because one of the things that I always say about a rumor or innuendo or any kind of accusations is that when you get to know somebody or kind of feel out their character, you could pretty much, I mean, you can't stake your life on it, but you could pretty much tell if that's something that that person would do or not do just by their actions, beforehand. So when some of the um accusations came out, I was thinking to myself, mm, I could see him doing that. In fact, he even apologized for some of the language that he had that he did not deny. So yeah, I definitely see that. Claudia says, "Hey sisters." Um, just trying to get through some of these comments. Um, hold on one second. Some people think that they are untouchable because they have money and notoriety. Damn that. That's right, Maritza. I agree with you. Money don't mean a thing when it comes to being held accountable for your actions. And that's what we're hoping, that these men will be held accountable for some of their actions. Um, excuse me. Exactly, the African American gets the harsh penalty. This is so true. And when you really think about it, even like what's his name? Jeffrey Epstein. In so many ways, death was like that was a kind punishment for him, because for years he had gone on raping and assaulting these young girls for many, many years and never really got to be held accountable for that. And these women live constantly in torment because of his actions. And he's gone. He's not even paying a price for it. And if we believe, as Christians believe, he was saved and he was saved, he's still gonna get to heaven. Do that even sound right? I'm just throwing that out there as a point of contention for me. Hey Martina, right, Nikki? He not right, Nikki. I could believe when I heard him on the news when he admitted to his actions. At least that's a start. Right. It's a start, but he really, if some of the latest things are true, then really he does need to be held accountable for his actions. And because in the beginning, I'll admit, I really kind of felt like this might be a witch hunt that was started by people on the other side of the political aisle. But when you start to pulling out so many different ones, then you kind of see that there is a pattern here. There must have been something that went on. But whatever went on, guess who's gonna figure it out? My girl Letitia James. She gonna get to the bottom of it. The AG in the New York State AG, she'll get to the bottom of it. So we thank God for that. But so yeah, that was one subject that I wanted to bring up, the Me Too. I really need your comments back and forth, because I'm really trying to get some discussion back and forth, since our lovely co-host Michelle is resting and getting well. Um, it helps the dialogue, and it's not just me bantering back and forth with just my opinions. So, but anyway, we'll move on. And the next thing that I know you guys have heard and you've talked about, it involves a woman, Meghan Markle, and what happened. Oh, Beatrice, you're right about him committing suicide. I don't know, Beatrice, with that one a little bit, because I'm kind of feeling like he might have been murdered. I can't say, I don't know, I wasn't there, but it's either one or the other. Either he was guilty and committed suicide, or just he didn't want to have to face the punishment and committed suicide. That could be one of it. But I really believe that he had some information on other people who were far more powerful than he was, and I believe that he was murdered. That is, I'll not believe anything else until they prove it. about what happened to Jeffrey Epstein. I really believe he might have something on Trump. We know for sure he had something on Prince Andrew. So you know when you look at that and you think kind of something don't smell right here. Um, they've gotten away with far too long. It's the norm for them, white men, and unfortunately, a lot of women suffer in silence. Hell with that. That is so true. I would venture to say that 95 to 98% of women, if not physically sexually assaulted, they have been verbally sexually assaulted. I know that on my job, on a few jobs that I've had men verbally abuse me, and not in a way where it would even continue, but just say things that was sexually inappropriate to me in the workplace. And this is a question that I also want to throw out there as well, because I could be dead wrong. I'm not trying to make this a race issue either, because wrong is wrong and all of it that they do is wrong. It is not a woman's fault when men do these things to them. But I would venture to say, and I could be totally wrong again, that in a lot of instances, not all, but a lot of instances, black women handle it a whole lot different than white women. Because when that has happened to me on a job, they got a good cussing out and they knew not to do it again. You know, but I've heard stories where some men would really, go on and on and on with certain women till it was just unbearable to be at work. Whereas, and I'm not saying that is my responsibility or any other woman's responsibility to safeguard themselves from that kind of harassment. That is not what I'm saying. All I'm saying that is in my instance, you would you would be afraid to say that something to me that I didn't appreciate a second time. That's all I'm saying. And I kind of think that a lot of times certain black women hold themselves in that way when it comes to sexual abuse, um, verbal sexual abuse. That's what I'm saying. But I could be wrong. Again, I could be very very wrong. Um, oh, he that yes, Beatrice. He definitely had information, so we know. You know, I don't know. I think he was murdered. I agree, Monique. I really think he was murdered. I don't believe that he killed himself. I think it was too convenient of a suicide if he did kill himself. That he might have even been coaxed to kill himself and then the guards not be there. That just was a little strange. So anyway, enough with Epstein, because I don't know. I don't have a hell or a heaven to put anybody in. I just know that what he did was so awful and so egregious to women and young women that if I did have a hell to put somebody in, he'd probably be in there. But anyway, yeah, so I think some people believe that he was killed for what he knew. Yep. But so guys, what do you think about this weekend's interview with Oprah and Meghan Markle? Because what I will say is, I hope that we all the queens, would find a man that would stand up for his woman and his family. If even if they had to leave their own family and get rid of their place on the throne, I hope that we all find a man that love us that much. Yes, yes, Shalane. Let's talk Megan. So my thoughts on Megan are twofold. For one, I really believe that they have been trying to get rid of Megan since Harry met Megan. That's number one. I don't believe they cared for her. I don't believe they liked her. Not only because she was black, but because she was an American. She didn't come from royal blood, which they've had some in the past that didn't either. But there was just too many things stacked against her that they did not like. so that they were trying to do everything in their power to get rid of her. What I don't believe that they were in for is that they did not foresee that this man was going to love this woman enough to leave his not only his family, the throne, but even his country. So I didn't think they foresaw that, but he did. And surprise, surprise. So as far as what they're saying about her race, that doesn't surprise me at not one bit. It doesn't surprise me, not one bit. Um, Megan spoke her truth. That's right. Way to go, Queen. She really did speak her truth, and some of it I felt while I watched the interview. I kind of felt like, not that she was being dishonest, but I felt like she wasn't telling everything. So what she did tell, although it was horrible, it was bad. I really think that there may have been more to tell. Either that there was more to tell, or she knew more than she was actually saying. Like when Oprah asked her, who was it that was saying the rumors about the color of her baby? I I think she knew who it was. Oh well, you know what? Let me go back. She did say she didn't want to say who it was. So that was what it was. She really didn't want to say, but you know, we all inquiring minds, we all wanted to know. I know I did. But yes, Harry definitely stood up for his woman. I love, I love that. I love that. I loved not only a man that will love his woman that much, but did you hear what he said about how he didn't have a clue? He didn't have any idea how bad it was until about the race issue, until he kind of had to step in her shoes. That he didn't know that people were so diabolical when it came to race, and that it was so bad that they were willing to have let this lady be in mental anguish and possibly commit suicide. So who knows if they weren't even hoping that she would go that way? Who knows? I'm happy she was finally able to freely speak her truth. Me too. Me too. Um, I truly believe it was an issue of the color of what the baby will be. That was definitely it for me. And they said it. Harry actually outed them and let it be known that this was a discussion going on in that family. And not from, they were very careful, I noticed, though, to note that it wasn't coming from the queen or the queen's husband, Prince, can't remember his name, but the queen's husband, grandpa. Didn't come from grandma and grandpa. But I kind of wonder if maybe it might have come somewhat a little bit from Prince Andrew, his brother's wife. She don't seem, I don't know. These are my speculations. But that race thing is serious. It goes so deep that I don't care what you achieve in life, how much you garner success or whatever you do in your life. It's like you can't escape this race issue with some people. They just can't see behind the color. And to me, as light as Megan is, she barely even looked black. I don't understand where they would think that the baby would be any darker than her with a white husband. I don't know. I didn't get that. He loved her enough to not care what his family thought or said. Yes. And don't we all want a man like that? I know I do. Well, I mean, I'm not even going to go there right now, but it sure would be nice to have a man that loved you that much. I was hearing that he's very disappointed in his dad because he was confiding in him, thinking his dad would understand because of what his dad went through with his mom, and his father gave him the cold shoulder. I believe that. I believe that, and I believe that yes, Camilla and his wife might have had a problem with that. Yes, Beatrice. I so believe that. I believe that. because you got to remember that Charles is from the old guard. He's from the old guard. And this new way of thinking that the younger people have, he want no parts of it. Which is why, I think he wound up, with Camilla in the first place. Which I don't know. That whole thing, I don't know. You know what I have to check out? What is this show that they're saying that comes on? I forget the name of the show, but it's about the royal family. Anybody could put that in the chat. Let me get a refresher on the name. I got to check that show out. The Crown. I think it's The Crown, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the show. But I'm gonna try and check it out because they say they talk about it a lot. Yeah, I was Angela. Yes, I was very. I have a new level of respect for Prince Harry after that interview. I really did, because in the beginning, I'm not really one of these people that's for the royals. That it didn't really. I mean, I think when I watched Harry and Meghan's wedding, I was just excited because not even so much for Meghan. I wanted to see her mother walk in that wedding. I was all there for that. So yeah. I believe she and him agreed beforehand on how much they would tell. Yes, they had to. hmm I believe so, because I was quite surprised when he came out after her interview, and he was pretty much lockstep with what she had already said. So they definitely had shored up what they would say beforehand. And Dawn, hey Dawn Washington says, exactly. I wonder how much she kept in. I believe we'll never know the whole truth. I, I, I think typing is. Also feel like she did her best to try to shield the royal family. Still, she did. After all they put her through, yes, isn't that? And you know what? Too, I always say that about us. That's some of the beauty of us, that we still, I don't care how bad you treat us sometimes, we always try to find compassion for everybody, any and everybody. Yes, he loves her man like he loves her. Oh, she loves her man like he loves her. Yes, she won't publicly break his heart by saying the name on the interview. Yes, I guess that would have to be it. I wanted to know so bad though. I was watching it. I was hoping. I knew when she didn't say it, and he came out, and Oprah asked him the same question. I was hoping that he would say it. Oh, but anyway, yes. Hey, Harry, how's the baby? He's getting to be a big boy now. Um, we know he's a mean son of a bitch. Yes, he's not very nice. I don't think so. Oh yes, King Philip is the grandpa. Yeah. Well, I think he's the prince. He's a prince. He's a prince. Yeah, he's the prince. Um, and Shalane says, they say the brother is playing a big part in this whole crap. Yeah, because today I think he spoke out for the first time, but they're saying he still hasn't spoken to his brother. And you could tell when Harry had that interview with him, with Oprah, that his relationship with his brother was fractured. And even though it was fractured, you could see, and this is how I would imagine a younger brother who looks up to his older brother, that it was hurting him. So I really did feel for him in that point of the interview. I really did. Absolutely, he made the decision that it was not going to that he was not going to allow her to go through what his mother went through. Yes, and I think that's what really, really guides his thinking and all of that, is that he really understood and felt, being a child of his mother, and seeing that literally the press, the media, and that family, or less, as they say, the institution, was really taxing on her, and he didn't want his wife to go through that. Shalane, give me a little strength right here because it's a big one. Oh, I'm sorry, Claudia. She said she didn't fit the mold of what they thought was royalty worthy. And you're right. They didn't count on Harry standing up to them. They were both still somewhat protective of the family. I wanted them to spill it all. I think I think they were still being respectful. They definitely could have the blown it up to a higher degree. My hat's off to both of them. Harry has a lot of Diane in him. He really does. And I always thought that William did too, but I'm so disappointed over William lately. I really am. Because you would think that this child, the only other child by his mother and his father, that he would stand up for his younger brother. So I really am a little bit disappointed at him. Yep. Um, I just don't understand the organization over the family. So I really, I don't really understand it totally either, Beatrice. But from what I gather, is that the family, you know, has a duty to country, and there is this organization or the institution that oversees how the family plays out that duty. So that's kind of what I gathered from that interview. I never knew that before then, but again, I didn't watch The Crown, so I'm gonna try and check it out because I hear it's really good. But I've never been that interested in royals that way, but I guess this one has me kind of going, so I will watch it eventually. Um, yep, they're not ranking. Um, exactly. He said no one was there for his mother, and isn't that sad to see that nobody was there for his mother, and what it turned out to be in the end, where these people, because what I also gathered is that there's this symbiotic relationship between the institution and the media. And with the media, they're pretty much guided by the institution, and the institution is guided by the media. So they kind of feed off one another. And for the media to be so dogged and and be allowed to kind of chase this lady down to her death, and then this family now not seeing the or respecting that this same kind of thing could happen again with Megan. It was hurtful. It was hurtful, especially knowing that it was pretty much done because of her race. That was very hurtful. Prince Harry said he and Meghan are living off of the money that his mother. Oh, she must have. Yes, she did. I think when she said that, I was like, oh, she must have left him a good penny. Excuse me, guys. I need my little breaks in between. My girl ain't here to cover me. But yeah, I was thinking that, Shalane. I was like, oh, because look, she's been gone a long time. He was a baby when she died. Like, what, he was 4 years old, something like that. So she left him a good penny. Plus, I think they make money other ways, though. I really do. So, and their rich is not our rich. That's another thing too. So, um, in addition, he doesn't want Megan to have the same life of sadness, hurt, or death as his mother did. Yes, we were saying that. Living that royal life is like prison. You have to abide by the rules, regulations, no questions asked. Yes, that seemed to be crazy. I couldn't do it. I really couldn't do it. So anybody who could, I mean, I take my hats off to them, but I couldn't do it. It couldn't be me. I would feel like I was in prison all the time. You can't go to the mall. You mean telling me I can't go to the mall? But I was surprised they got secretly married 3 days before. Oh, now Beatrice, you put one on me. I didn't know that. I was a little late to the interview, so maybe I missed that. Oh, I'm surprised. I didn't know that. See, they was trying to get rid of Megan, but he was like, you know the saying, once you go black, you do not go back, and he did not go back. How about it? I think they genuinely love the queen. I think so too. And if what they're saying is true about her, I think she's a good woman at heart. I really do. I really do. I just think that there are other people around them that are just a tad bit more facetious than her and her husband was. Everybody, I'll talk a lot on this show and other shows about race and racism and how so many people are dogged by racism. But I also would like for people to understand that I don't believe that all white people see people of color, black people in particular, through the lens of negative racial stereotypes. I don't believe that. I really don't. I believe a good majority of them do, but I don't believe they all do. And I believe in my heart that there are some real good, genuine white people around that you can, be in a relationship, love, and not sexual or romantic relationship. I'm just talking about relationship, friendship, like family. Uh, you might have to sift through them a good deal to get to one, but they are there. Yes, Christy the Crown. Yes, I will be checking it out. I'm gonna try and get through some of these comments, but I feel like my wind is not really taking me through. Um, but his brother is heir to the throne, and he's tight-lipped. He's not gonna mess up his good thing. That's true. That's true. The one thing that I did see that involved royals, and this was based on a true story, called the King's Speech. And from what I gather, it is possible to give up your crown or abdicate the throne if you wanted to or really needed to, because that's what happened in the King's Speech, where the older brother was supposed to be the king, but he was having an affair with a woman that was not his caliber, so to speak. And he didn't want to give up that affair. So he chose, look, another instance where he chose the woman over his crown. And the king, he let his little brother, who was just the prince, step into that role and become the king. That was actually a really good movie because it was about a man, the guy who wound up becoming king. He had problems with speaking. He stuttered real bad. So that was really the King's Speech, how he spoke, not an actual speech. But well, it did involve an actual speech, because at the end he gave this flawless speech without almost no interruptions from his stuttering. It was a good movie, but anyway, I digress. um yes, Sherry, Harry is hurt, very disappointed in his dad. Yes, that's what how I did too. Um, I wish I had Michelle just to read for me. When they look at Prince William and Kate, both look miserable. I think they hate the fact that they envy Prince. You know what? That could be very true. That they envy his ability to choose his own life and just be free and rid himself of what they call the royals in order to live his own destiny. I could see that. He's choosing his bloodline, his path to the throne over his brother. Yes, yep, that's exactly what he's doing. The firm, I'm a little bit. The firm, I'm confused over that one. Nick. Um, William acts like he has a stick up. Yes, he probably is miserable though. If really, if it really is the way they say it is, the Royals live, he probably is miserable. We look at the Royals and sometimes wealthy, famous people, and sometimes you might envy that life, but that life comes with a different way of living that is almost not normal for us. Like I said earlier, you mean to tell me I can't go to the mall? And famous people just can't go to the mall. I think it was Justin Bieber or something like that. A few years ago, he just went to the mall, and all of these people wind up stampeding. People sued him over that. So you can't just show up to the mall when you Beyonce without an announcement. You can't do that. And I would never want to live a life like that. Not me. So or I would love for the ladies' room to be big. I want everybody to watch it and have fun with us, dialogue. But I still, at the end of the day, I want to go to the mall and be left alone. When COVID is over. Facebook user said it is said that they left him 20 million. Okay, that's nice because guess what? They don't spend money like we spend money. They invest most of it, and then they live off those investments. They live off of the interest. So, yep. He said that they wanted something private. Harry said that, which is good. I'm happy for them. To be honest with you, I'm so happy because it's nothing like really being able to choose your own destiny. It's almost like I talk about, and I'm gonna digress here a little bit. When I talk about people having children who are LGBTQ, and me having a child who is LGBTQ myself, the hardest thing I had to give up was my idea of the dream I had for him. But that's not my life; it's his life. And that's what people have to understand. I can't make a life for you. You have to make your life for yourself. We have to learn how to give up on this idea that we can control a direction that somebody else is supposed to go in. And I think if there's something that I would hate about being royal, that would be it. Is that you have to commit to that line and the succession of being king or queen or princess. That child, that leads me right on to my other thing. I know you guys saw coming to America this weekend. Child, let me finish these comments before I get into that because it's almost time for us to rock out of here. Shalane said they said they wanted a ceremony just for the two of them because they knew the actual wedding would be a whole lot. That makes sense. Something special. Because even a regular wedding, you feel overwhelmed because everybody is looking at you, and it goes so fast. You spend all that time, all that money, all that preparation, and it goes so fast because really you're so overwhelmed. But Letitia says, I think the sense of duty has become even more important since the abdication in 1930s. I don't know about that, but I'm sure I'll call you later. You'll tell me because I'm not really steeped in that their history that way. But anyway, let me move on. I guess the fear of extinction is pretty powerful. Royalty is a powerful symbol in the UK that I just can't quite understand. Me either. Oh, yes, Shalane. Wait, let me get back. Shalane. P.S. Morgan. I want. I can't say that on live. He need a smack. Somebody need to smack him. And all it is because he's jealous because he wanted to go out with her and she didn't want to go with him. Just that simple. And he gonna walk around there acting like an ass because she rejected him. Horrible. Oh, you know what? Maybe I am a little bit more into the Royals than I thought because I did see Bridgerton. But you know why I watched Bridgerton, right? I'm not even gonna say why, but I watched Bridgerton. Yes, that was good. Let's see. Now, why baby Archie can't have a little that one? Wait, I don't know who put this on because it said Facebook user. I know it's not even funny, but damn, did they strip him from his title? You know why they said we cannot have this little chocolate baby running around here talk about they the king. Oh, that's funny. uh, they prefer the organizations. Okay. They referred to them as the firm. Yeah, they did. They said the firm, the institution. It was a couple of words that they were throwing around, but yes, thank you for clearing that up for me, Nick. And they took her identity. Yes, that was really crazy. They took her ID and her passport. So if she did want to run out of there, she couldn't. Now that's scary. That's almost like being trafficked, right? Ooh, scary. Cyber Nigel heard your voice and asked, "Is that?" I'm gonna get you, Nigel. Yes, it's Miss Cookie. So now I know who this Facebook user is. Hey Nigel. Well, I didn't know that was that so they have to announce when they are coming out to shop. I guess if you're really a big star, you do. But maybe he didn't know either because, and I don't know whatever happened to them suits because I didn't follow it. But I could imagine that you would have to think you would be putting people's lives in jeopardy if there was a stampede. Because imagine if somebody like Beyonce just walked into the mall, or somebody like a Michael Jackson when he was alive just walked into the mall. People would go crazy. They would lose their minds. So yeah, I would imagine that they have to. You would want that anyway because you want the extra security. But look, not Nikki. I just want to go to the mall and be left to my own business, my own devices. I don't trust Megan. Something about her is sneaky. Nicole, that's what I was saying when I was looking at her body language. But I was thinking that maybe it's because she didn't want to tell everything we wanted to hear. Maybe that was it. I don't know. But either way, there was something that was a little off. But anyway, I still like her. I still like her. Yeah, smack them hard, right, Shalane? Yeah, they fired him. Yep. Let me get through some of these. Okay, so last real quick subject before we get out of here. How did you all like coming to America? Hmm, I'm curious. Speaking of royalty, I'll just say real quick how I felt about it. I really, 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 really love the nostalgia. I love the idea that they employed 6,000 people, mostly people of color, to make that film. The funnies were off the chain, of course. The Eddie Murphy and the rest of the comedians were very good as well. And I can never, ever, 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 ever. In fact, I could watch that movie 3 and 4 times just for the fashion, just for the design. I forget Ruby something. When I tell you the designs, if she don't win an Oscar for that, you know it is nothing but racism. But those designs were so beautiful. Oh, just magnificent. But the movie was very poorly written. And I'm sorry. I didn't want to ruin it for anybody, but I just couldn't get past that horrible writing a little bit. But other than that, I'm not gonna trash it because it's black film and we need to be able to make more black film. He made a mint, but I just feel like they could have done so much better, especially given the caliber of actors and actresses that they had on that particular in that movie. the money that they'll make from it, because I don't care whether the movie was garbage or not. You know they're gonna make a lot of money just for the nostalgia's sake. So that was part of why I wasn't really happy with it. I also did not like the idea that in order for him to have a succession of the throne, it had to be an illegitimate child. When they could have really written a really decent script around how he was going to change the law to give the crown to the daughter in the beginning, and instead of just coming up with it in the end after you went back to America to find his illegitimate child. But anyway, other than that, it was something that can be watched with the whole family, which is another good thing about it. Because so much trash is on television lately, it's hard to find something that's really good for us to watch as a family. So I really appreciated that aspect, but I feel like we could do better with the writing. I do. Um, they knew darn well that baby wasn't gonna for anything but fear. Wasn't gonna for. I'm lost with that one a little bit. I'm sorry. Maybe you could clarify. Maybe it was a typo or something. Uh, so this is somebody who loved the movie. Good. I'm glad Karen enjoyed it. Good, good, good. So most of the people that I have seen on Facebook really did enjoy the movie. Oh, Shalane, did I give anything away? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Well, I didn't give much away. So you could go watch it, and you should watch it. So I didn't give anything away except my thoughts about the writing. But you'll enjoy it anyway, because a lot of people that I talked to and I said I'd enjoy it, they really enjoyed it. They laughed, they thought it was funny. But I think you guys could probably gather from some of the talks we have here that I hold black excellence to a very high standard. And especially when you have the means to do better and do more. That's kind of how I see it. If they were just like a slap shop operation that was just put together like some of these new independent films, I would say that was excellent. But these are people who've been in the industry for obviously over 30 years. So let's see. Yeah, so it was it did serve an entertaining purpose. Yes, you're right. Um yes, Shalane, it's the same designer. Yep. Excellent. This lady is, when I tell you, you're gonna be awestruck just from the there was this black and kind of like a goldish sheer outfit that the commander's daughter wore when he was giving her away to the new king. When I tell you that thing was sharp, that she danced in, it was so sharp. But everything was sharp. But even the first coming to America, they gypped her. I don't know if it was the same designer. I believe it was, but they gypped her out of that Oscar and gave it to this lady who designed the stuff from Les Miserables. I was so mad because that designing was top notch. Oh, good. I'm glad you loved it, Denise, Shalane. Oh yes, watch the first and then you'll really see how not. And I'm not trying to compare it because 30 years ago is 30 years ago, so you really can't compare it. I'm just saying that the writing could have been a little bit more intriguing, so that you kind of felt like you was not only entertained, but you could do more thinking. It's not just you know exactly what's gonna happen next. I don't always want to know exactly what's gonna happen next. So that brings me to the um very bottom of the hour, top of the next hour. Um, I hope you all will watch President Biden give his first address this evening at 8 o'clock, I believe. Um, right now, I would give him a C. I really don't like what he's doing with foreign affairs. I don't like what's going on at the border. Uh, those kids starving in Yemen and them having ties to the Saudis and not letting those trucks get through to provide food. So those kind of things, it's I'm not really happy with. But other than that, I give them a C so far. We'll see what these stimulus checks look like for those who get them when they come out. Um, we'll see what he's doing for the black community because I'm still that's where my all my chips are in at. What is he gonna do? What Janet Jackson say? What have you done for me lately? That's what I'm waiting to see. So other than that, he gets a C. Um, and anyway, I'm gonna watch and see what he says. Um, but anyway, I wish you all well. I thank you so very much because you didn't have to spend your hour with me, and you did. I really appreciate that. I love you for watching, and I hope that you will come back next week. I hope that you will invite somebody to come back with you. Hit like, share. Remember, we stream on Facebook and YouTube. Invite somebody to go to YouTube and like and subscribe. You see, my nose is. That's why I have to kind of shut it down early because my breathing gets crazy after a while when I'm doing too much talking on my own. But I love you all for watching. I thank you so much. I appreciate you. Come back next week. We'll be here again, and hopefully, my co-host Michelle will be feeling better, and she'll be side by side chopping it up because we just talking about what we talking about. I love you all. Have a great, great night.